Welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. I'd like to start by thanking all my subscribers, my viewers, for all your professional, interesting, mindful comments. I love my subscribers because they are just so kind towards me, towards each other, and to the victims in this case. I'd like to thank a YouTube creator called Nika Nuggets. Shout out to her. Please like, share, and subscribe in her channel. She's a professional who at least gave me the credit for finding the pictures that Saeed was watching at the Banfield with Kaylee in the sitting position, unfortunately, and with the pictures that I zoomed in and that I first found in my channel of the grub truck, what Jovito was watching, the grub truck, the people yelling out Xana's name. Many other creators came and took the contents without using it under fair use purpose. This was exactly 3 days ago. 4 days ago, I was complaining about a certain YouTube creator doing that. It wasn't the first time she took my content, but I'll let that slide. I'll be professional about it because I heard what she had to say about me and it was just so foul and nasty. I do not talk in that manner. I've been raised better. I'm a licensed mental health counselor. I do not do unprofessionalism by talking about people's looks and sending people on my comment channel to be rude and nasty to me. She said that I removed out many of my comments. I did not do that. YouTube did that. So thank God that there is people that monitor our stuff. Today I'd like to talk about the beginning of this case. In the very beginning of this case, there were some things that we heard from the parents that was a bit baffling for me and for many other people, because this case was on a gag order from the very second week, I think, of the incident, the quadruples. Like example, when Steve Gongalves, Kaylee's father, said that it all happened quick. Wonder how he would know or who told him, unless somebody was in the site of the incident or unless they heard it from someone. How would they know that it happened quick? He said that it started from the 3rd floor and then it went to the 2nd floor. The Unalivings, how would he know that? Unless the coroner told him, and that would have been very unprofessional of her. But I do understand that the 4 victims were cremated by their parents and by the family, so I would understand how they would have known some of the details, but some of the details are still baffling to understand how they would have known that. So let me play this first.
Autopsy results are already out. The father of one of those students says the points of damage don't match. What does he mean by this, you think?
Well, to tell you the truth, I don't know what this guy means. I'm going to take a little bit of a turn on this because this individual, Steven Gonzalez, I always butcher his last name. He's doing an interview. It seems like every 4 to 8 hours, and many of these different news agencies are putting what he has to say all over the airwaves, and they're not looking at the totality of the things that this guy says. He himself, not law enforcement, he says conflicting things constantly, and he says things that are very odd over and over again. I've worked a lot of different cases. I spoke to a lot of different law enforcement. In fact, one police officer who was a mayor of a town in Springfield and a 20-year police officer reached out to me yesterday and said he's never seen anyone that seemed like they have committed a homicide more than Mr. Gonzalez. Now that's something when we're looking at his at his statements that he is consistently making to the media, and the media is overlooking the fact that he is saying things. And I have some of the things that he says right here. He says that nobody in the room, that it was fast and nobody suffered. Right?
Yeah,
There's
how
been
would he
no
know
report
that?
on them. He's also said that he's just going to say it. This is a quote from Kaylee's dad. I'm just going to say it. It was leaked to me. I earned that. I paid for that funeral. I sent my daughter to college. She came back in a box. He went to the when they had their service for all the four slain, and made jokes and talked about the lighting. I mean, this
Yeah,
individual is bothering me and many people very much. And if at the very least, he is causing law enforcement more problems, I think, than anything else.
definitely interesting. He also said something that caught my eye, that the killer chose to go upstairs. So, want to remind our viewers of the home. So, it's a three-level home. The main entrance is actually like the basement area, and then you go up the second floor. That's where a couple of the bedrooms were, and then you go to the third floor where there were other bedrooms. So, he's saying, this father, that the killer went up that second floor and went through the sliding glass door. Have you heard any police reports saying that was how the killer entered the home?
We've heard no definitive police reports that say that. Although I do believe that is correct. I think when you look at the two individuals, the two females that were in the first floor, and that first floor opens up into a common living room type space. I guess there's bedrooms there, and those go upstairs. It's almost like a second apartment.
Yeah.
And the second floor has its own main area, and then there's the third floor. And this, Mr. Gonzalez, he continues to push out there details about this crime that nobody really knows about. We do know that people were killed on the second and the third floor. I personally have never heard any reports where they were saying that there was different types of attacks and ferocity amongst the different victims. The only person that said that is this same individual. And in the way that he talks about how his daughter and the other girl that was with her were sleeping in the same bed, that information was not released until he said it.
Right. Yeah, so I wonder if the police will come out, Jonathan, and kind of clear up some of these things, because of course, people want answers, right? Yeah.
So I just wanted to react to that. To start with, I do understand that Steve and the victims' parents and families are grieving. Especially this was in the beginning of the case. And when a person is grieving, they would say a lot of things that make sense and a lot of things that wouldn't make sense. It was too early on in the case for anyone to have known what exactly took place in that house on the second floor or on the third floor. Nobody knew where the access point was. The police said that they believed it was the sliding door. What I found interesting was that Chief Fry didn't even know that the front door was left wide open. It sounded like news to him when he was asked about the front door being left wide open. Somebody on their way to work at 8:30 a.m. in the morning on that Sunday, that unfortunate day where we lost these four precious souls, somebody saw that door open. And that brings a lot of questions too. How come Bethany Funk, who lives in the first floor, if she was at home, how come she didn't smell red liquid? How come she didn't smell anything in the house? We're talking about four young people who were unalived. How would Kaylee's father know that it went too quick? Did somebody tell him that? And if anyone told him that, that means the person had to be at the crime scene. Because even the coroner wouldn't have known that it went too quick. Or at least she wouldn't have said that out loud. There are so many conflicting stories that were coming out of some certain people's mouths, honestly. The second thing, he said that it started on the third floor. How would he know that it started on the third floor and not the second floor? The third thing The third thing that Steve has always said is that there was a hell of a fight upstairs. I thought it went too quick. So was there hell of a fight upstairs, or did it go too quick? There are questions that need to be asked, and I believe that Steve got this information from someone. I wonder who he got this information from. If you remember, in the beginning, Steve said he spoke to Hunter. Did Hunter tell him what he heard? Did he tell him what the 411, what the word was around town? Was this something that Steve found out maybe to Jack D or to someone else? Because this case was on gag order soon after, although the families and parents weren't on gag order, I've noticed that Xana Kanodo's family, parents, did only an interview in the beginning. They've stayed out of social media and everything. The Chapin family has done a couple of interviews with the media, but Steve has given us a lot of information, and I think that has muddied the waters because we don't know if it's true or if it's false. If there was a hell of a fight upstairs, which I do believe, if you go according to the Linda Lane footage, there was a hell of a fight. Where did he get that information from? How did Steve know that Kaylee's wounds was different compared to the other three victims' wounds? Just a question. I'm not criticizing anyone, but I just need those questions to be answered. Because the police haven't told us in what manner and in what order the unalivings happened properly. And if Steve heard it from the surviving roommates or from Hunter, that means they knew what was going on in the house. They would have known that there was a hell of a fight going on upstairs. The patterns of the wounds or people's wounds, I would have understood that. I can understand that Steve would have known about Kaylee because he got her body back and he cremated it. May she rest in peace. Maybe even Maddie he would have known because Maddie's close to the family. But that there was a hell of a fight going upstairs, that it started from the third floor, which I honestly don't believe. I believe that Ethan and Xana were unalived first, and I showed you all that. Because when the crowd was yelling out Xana's name, you must have watched it in other people's channels too, after they took it from the findings that I found. You can hear them clearly saying, Xana, Xana, no Xana, and then they say, Ethan, let's go. And that was at 2 a.m. 2 a.m. and 10 minutes is when DM calls the shared driver, Eric G, and asks him if he's driving. Did he actually come and pick her up, and where did he take her is the question. The black truck is very interesting too. That black truck was seen by their tripod out of the house. It was in front of 1122 Kings Road. How can we hear so much noise, movements going around in Linda Lane? Is the Linda Lane footage true or false? Because we can hear stop on the police body cam at 2:54, the 90-minute theory, which I always tell you all about. Let me know what y'all think about this. But I find this very interesting that Steve knew things before law enforcement. Is it because the case wasn't on gag order yet? I don't think law enforcement would have told him there was a hell of a fight upstairs. They wouldn't have told him that it happened too quickly, just like this FBI agent is saying, in my opinion. Please let me know what y'all think. Have a lovely evening.